everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Monday, it's morning, it's 9 a.m. for me, which means it's time for the Great Debate. And today we have VashTheTokenDargun.
Hello.
I thought that was interesting. I read it through, and I'm like, the token dragon, and then I'm trying to type it out, and I'm like, damn, I'm an idiot. The name shows through sometimes, you know. So how are you today?
I'm doing all right. It's nice weather out and everything.
It's saying it's supposed to be. I'm waiting to see. When the show gets over, I'm going to go back outside, I'm going to look up, and I'm going to figure out what I'm doing for the day.
We got good fishing weather over here.
Any weather's good weather for fishing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It could be pouring rain, it could be sprinkling, it could be sunny. Any weather is good weather for fishing.
Yeah, like I honestly like to just throw out a reel and see what happens.
Yeah. Hey, a relaxing day is a day for fishing. Let's say hi to the chat. We have Malevolent Rider, Adam K. We have Lacey Ann, the Angry Amish Hitman. We have Gabe the Samurai, and of course, some bots. Welcome everybody to the chat or back to the chat, depending on what the case may be. I appreciate everybody showing up. What we're going to do, and Vash is new to the show, which is always fun. I love the new guests. Just let me know if you want to be one. We're going to load up this fancy-ass board that I got as soon as I remember how to run the show, because Mondays are a little rough sometimes, you know? But here we go.
Yeah. Sometimes
welcome to the Great Debate.
Sorry, the audio cuts you off sometimes. What?
Oh, I was about to say, sometimes this stuff will just throw you a bone, you know?
Hey, you never know. Hey, the chat will throw you bones. All you gotta do is ask. Real quick explanation of how the board goes, even though most of you have already seen this. There are 18 topics. Underneath every topic is a question or a sentence, a statement, something to start the conversation. And you will begin by applying how you see things, your perspective and your opinion. It's not about the right or wrong, it's about offering the different viewpoints and taking a look at them. What would you like to start with?
All right, well, I guess we'll go with video games.
Video games. I love video games. Will games that are built around the ability to use them independently compete with laptops and tablets and phones?
Like independently, like are we talking about like an advancement to the VR or?
Are you Nintendo? What is the new one? The Switch. I took a look at it.
Oh.
It kind of looks like a modified. It looks like what a video game console in your home would be versus a computer in your home. It looks like kind of a cool, sleeked out version of a tablet. And it's got buttons for you to play the game on instead of attaching a keyboard or something to it wirelessly.
I believe personally that like laptops will never, like a game can always, a video game console can always be a video game console, but a computer can be almost every video game console now. I mean, if you look at emulators and stuff like that. So no matter what, laptops will always they'll always triumph over the consoles, in my opinion.
There's a trend I sort of see happening, and I guess part of why I see it is because I'm a part of it. I have a console. My computer is a flip screen laptop that has a touch screen on it. So I stopped buying tablets because they broke down every year. I have a smartphone. It's really hard because I can go back and forth with certain things. Other things won't cross-platform. And I
Yeah,
get a little
like
angry about that, so I want to stick with one. And what's the one I can stick with would be my computer. But if I had a Nintendo Switch, I could take that with me and then plug it into my TV at home. It would be almost as convenient as my computer.
yeah, like I could see if they advance the technology, but the thing about Nintendo is they're always the beautiful thing about Nintendo really is that they're always able to they're always trying new things. They're always exploring. Unlike the Sony and Microsoft do, where they just kind of stick to the formula that's getting the money. Nintendo, they did the VR, like they did the VR before everybody. They tried so many other things, and some of them failed, and other ones were very successful. I honestly could say that the nunchucks for the Wii was something that helped with the VR.
Hmm. I did
I think
kind of like
personally.
the Wii. It had its benefits. Sometimes I think the Wii sensors from the original Wii were definitely better than the 360. I can't say as I've wanted to spend the money to play a game on the 360 or on the Xbox One Connect. I just like the fact that I can talk to the Connect. Um,
Hmm.
for instance, and I think this will go through, I can go, it's off, but I have it set in standby startup mode so that I can walk through and turn things on. Xbox, turn on. Is that Cortana, turn on. That's right. There was an update. You say Cortana now and not Xbox anymore. So it's it's convenient. I understand it's also a huge security thing because that means it's constantly listening for those keywords and it's recording that information to better, more accurately get those keywords, and that information gets stored on a server if it's connected to the server, and so much more shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I could take my Xbox with me, if it had like a built-in pop-up screen and a power pack for the damn size that the thing is, it would be more
Hmm.
convenient to carry, and I might play the Xbox games more than I played games on my laptop because my laptop did cost me twice as much. So it's one of those things where it's price versus ability versus portability.
Yeah, I mean, like I personally have a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One myself, but that's also because I'm going to be trying to do live streams in the future.
And then you need other things, including the video graphics receiver card, and those aren't
Hmm.
fun either. They're what, $450 for the one I was looking at. It's
Yeah,
it's
it's
uh
it's
it's an expensive market to get into, and it isn't quite paying for itself right now. So that's definitely questionable on whether or not to do it. Malevolent, my timer's up. I got
oh,
you first.
but well, the PlayStation 4 is kind of revolutionized into streaming on its own console, which is pretty cool. But
Yeah, you know what I would like? There was a little crossbreeding in there. The Sony, was it the PSP connected into the PlayStation 2 or 3? What was it? You could play some games back and forth. There's
the
been whole bunches of little cool things systems have done, but
oh
Nintendo
yeah,
and PlayStation have probably done the best with it.
PlayStation 4 definitely won the console wars in my opinion.
And me, I'm still gonna use an Xbox because I like the Kinect better than I like that microphone look and move thing.
Oh yeah, I still like the Xbox One. Like I said, I have both of them. So
Oh, here we are back at the board. Malevolent went to say timer. He got a T, and that was it. That's probably the only time today I'm gonna win on that, but I try. What are we gonna do
let's,
next?
hmm. I'm gonna go ahead and go with. Wow, the internet's very broad.
it allows for so many questions, so many. Here's the weird thing, though. Let me throw this into this intermission. Some people have come in here thinking that easy means it's an easy category, or hard means it's a hard, or hot means it's a hot or hard category. You could get a fun and funny category under any one of these topics, and you could get a straight up serious category under any one of these topics, and you could strangely get something that you're personally deeply passionate about by accident underneath one of these topics. You never know what's going to happen or what's under there. And to be honest, I barely half remember what I write because I have to come up with so many sometimes. I have a spare list on the side that really hasn't applied because nobody picks the ones that I can come up with like that, and I write down when I already have a full board, and it's like, oh, come on, I need to come up with more of this one, and people...
Alright, let's see here. I'll go with... Yeah, let's go with the internet.
The internet. The internet is something different to anyone, depending on what you use it for.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's able to access it. There's plenty of communities.
Yes, but
I guess
what you know, this is a weird part about the internet, is what you know about the internet is only extended to where you've been on the internet. Some people can't talk of the dark web because they've never actually been there, or they've been there and they know better. And you can tell the difference when they talk.
Yeah.
Depending on what you use it for. So, I really just use the internet to do my show. What else is on the internet? What is the internet to me? It's a source of news that you have to decipher between real and fake. It's a source of organizations and companies that you have to decipher between good and bad. It's an abundance of people that you don't know if they're people, what type of people they are, who they are, where they are, what they stand for, or what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the internet is to me. To Andy Worski, the internet is a reservoir of porn.
Porn
to
everywhere.
Somebody
as
on
far
here,
as the eye can see.
to some people that watch me, the internet is literally just a page of code. And that's what they see, even when they're not looking at the code. They see how it's written and how it does it, because they've been exposed to that. So the internet really is what you use it for. And if you haven't used the internet for something and you haven't been exposed to it, then that's not what the internet is to you. So when I ask previous questions and other people offer various other insights about what the internet is and isn't, and I try to offer some sort of perspective to that. Well, to think about it, the internet is what you use it for. So, the internet for me is a broadcast station. That's it. I pick up broadcasts and I send out broadcasts.
I guess I just kind of use it for a multi-tool, really. Like,
multipass.
Yeah, it has the ability to do so much for me. Like, I'm able to stay in contact with my friends who have moved like all the way across the country, some of them even across the world. And it's really awesome to be able to do that and to like really like kind of look into their culture and see what's happening over on the other side, you know?
Right. And it's funny how we still have people that pay for long distance calling when
oh
you
god,
can just have
yeah,
the internet and dial across the world for free. So long distance calling is a sham. And that is important. So to you, the internet would more be communication. So depending on what you use it for, you just use it to communicate information, to communicate with people you know. So the internet to you is communication, which is similar to me, which means to me it's just for broadcasting. I click a button, I broadcast, I sit here, I listen to broadcasts, I create things to broadcast. To me, that is the point of it. Do I use it for a few other things, searching for a recipe or directions or the closest restaurant I can order from that's not going to charge me $10? Yeah, but most of what I use it for is for me to broadcast this show and for me to get
I
information from
know.
other broadcasts that people make.
I know a few people that actually use it to coordinate, like some of the members of the Occupy Wall Street use it to coordinate their groups and everything. They have the handlers that are a part of a circle that, they'll message out, and, they'll message out to the other people of the circle, and then they're like, well, we all need to assemble here. So each one might have like 20 people with them, but all of them assembling at the same time, it shows a lot of strength and, over 100 people, shoulder to shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And how they do it is by coordinating like that. So it's the internet is a very, very powerful thing. And I don't even need to bring up the capture the flag that the game of capture the flag that 4chan did.
Don't lose me. Time up.
Oh.
I usually ignore the timer, but Ryder and I'm having fun with him right now. It's entertaining because he goes right for that timer so much that I've even programmed the bot to respond to him when he says timer. Let's hit the chat though, because I saw a couple of them in here. Sega does what? That was the last one. Sorry to ignore it. No, not on purpose, guys. To me, the internet is a waste of time for most, but I do think the behaviors of people online are an interesting study. I've also learned a lot about myself dealing with these strange people. I love you anyway, Malevolent. I'm just having fun with you. It's Monday. I'm trying to find my entertainment where I can.
You can be rude if you want to be. I mean, I'm a Dargun. I can take it.
Hey, the Dargun, he gonna eat us.
I'm a token Dargun.
But different things for different people. Some people look at the internet as a resource for information, and all they use the internet for is to search what things are. Some people, the internet is just a way to watch TV because it's cheaper than buying cable. Different things to different people depending on what you use it for. So,
some people use it as an outlet to fap.
The internet is for porn.
Grab your dick and double click for porn.
All right, moving on from porn, though we weren't really there, but we were anyways. We all know it is there. I don't save the links, I memorize the sites.
Yeah, I actually do that too. There is one link that I have always had in my head, and that was I used to have this like fascination of like the Flash games.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. The one where you could play with the guy and you had to get laid.
Well, I mean, you could do that. Like there were so many.
I even downloaded them. It was one he was, depending on what actions you took at the parties or hanging out with the girls or on the airplane or whatever, depending on your actions, different scenarios happened through the game. It was a old Flash player game. Oh, I used to.
Yeah, there were like
that
tons of them.
That was in the late '90s. I'm old.
I mean, one of mine I even have memorized like the exact like, and it's still up too. Like it had like tons of like hentai Flash games, and all of them were horrible, but they were entertaining.
Oh, the one I know of wasn't hentai. It was like some college-based game. You were a college student, and you were in college adventures, and on all your adventures, you'd get to choose a scenario. So when you went to the frat house party, you were allowed to choose between chugging a beer or asking for a mixed drink, and if you chose the mixed drink, you got to go up to the bar where the girls were all hanging out by themselves because all the guys were chugging the beer. and you got to go through the different scenarios to see which one would get you laid. So every week when one came out, I would go into school and show everybody on the computer.
Yeah, there's so many of them, and you could easily go into the programming. But since we're already talking about it, why don't we just go ahead and go into sex?
Ooh, hasn't been picked in a while. Is it selfish to only want to please yourself when with a partner? Dun, dun.
When with a partner.
Ooh, see, this is a tough question. It's a tough question. Because depending on the day and my mood, I can answer either way. Because sometimes I look at my wife and go, I'm sorry, I need some help in the bedroom for me.
I mean, I gotta say, knowing kind of both sides of this because of watching other people's relationships and also seeing some of my own, I gotta say that if you are selfish and just wanting to please yourself in sex, your relationship isn't gonna last long. So if you're gonna do that, go for a one-night stand or something like that, because usually it won't last.
I tell you,
they will eventually go.
Do you mind if I ask what your relationship status is for perspective on this situation?
I am currently in an open relationship. I am into S&M type of thing. So
okay,
yeah,
I can sort of understand some of the outlines of that being, I can understand some of it.
yeah.
Sometimes you do understand that, and I say from my perspective, women do like to be used for your pleasure, and you do end up inadvertently pleasuring them by doing it.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, you gotta give that foreplay, because that's for the chick.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying
mainly.
all the time. I'm not saying that I'm not saying my wife never gets special treatment. But once in a while, you gotta walk up behind her and just be like, you're gonna get in the bed and you're gonna do it right now with your ass up in the air for me, and I'm gonna do what I want, and you do what you want. You get done and you walk away, and she's just all happy because she loved every minute of it anyway. So sometimes I didn't do it for her. No, at one point you just gotta say, it's for me. You're going to do this for me. Do what I say, but don't get me wrong. It goes both ways. She's done the same thing. She's looked at me and like pushed me into the bedroom and closed the door and gone, get undressed. Let's go.
Well,
tell me twice. Okay, I'll just lay here. You do what you want. You enjoy yourself, and I'll enjoy you enjoying yourself. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes, going both ways, you just need to be selfish. I need this. Do this and give it to me.
Yeah. With the one that I'm with right now, Lady Wolfheart, as she's known in a few servers. Her and I, like, I'm the dominant role, and she's, the submissive role. And the thing is, though, is like what I generally do is I try and make sure that she's, satisfied, at least, to say the least.
Yeah. If they're not satisfied on a regular basis, then those moments you want where you get to go, okay, I need this. You'll give this to me because I need it right now. Those don't work if
they won't have their heart.
That gratification. They gotta have everything. It's a part of it. They won't
have their heart behind it.
Right.
If nobody wants a half-assed blowjob.
If she pleases you all the time and you please her all the time, and once in a while you go out and go, okay, I just need you to just open up. Let me take what I need and go. And she'll be like, okay, well, let's go, because you haven't not pleased me, so let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and it comes down to the relationship. You can't do that to a new person. You can't just pick up a girl on the street and slam it to her until you're happy, because along with the relationship and that happiness, you kind of sync up a little bit. I didn't realize it till maybe a couple of years ago that in a relationship you do kind of sync up. Not on purpose, but, you know, the woman might get 3 or 4 orgasms, but a lot of times she's coming right when you come, just because you guys sync up because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
That got real deep, real fast, right as the timer hit.
That's what it's been like each time.
Well, I try to keep things interesting. I do offer my perspective, which isn't a whole lot. It's just one. That's the point of trying to get guests on here. But is it selfish to not want to please your partner? No. No, it's not selfish. As long as it's not a consistent thing. You know, as long as it's just once in a while.
You got to give them some lovins too. It's a give take, like, you know.
And I'm not
Think about it.
I'm not saying I'm the
Think
whole
about
guy and be rough and shit. I'm just saying, you know, no, you can take a little bit.
Unless they want that.
If they want it.
Usually the ones that I've been around generally can get pretty rough.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing. Everybody gets a little rough sometime. Everybody gets a little rough sometime. There's a new song. Somebody meme that for me.
All right, let's see here.
It's so difficult. There's still 15 tags left on this board. You're never going to get to all of them. Not in an hour.
I'll go with... Oh, God, this might be cringeworthy. So, LGBTQ alphabet.
Oh, as soon as you said cringe, I knew where we were going. While some understand, others do not understand. A lesbian woman with a trans woman. It is something... What? What the hell did I write? Hold on, let me reread that because I'm reading it wrong, I think. While some understand, others do not understand. A lesbian woman with a trans woman. Is it something happening? Opinion. It is something... I lost my... What the fuck did I do?
Well, some understand, others do not understand a lesbian woman with a trans woman.
Yes. I think the rest of that I screwed up. All right, so
like a male that identifies as a female being with a lesbian woman.
Yes. Sometimes it's hard to write questions. You get something in your mind and you type and you backspace and you type and you backspace and you type and you backspace, and when you're done you look at it and go, yeah, that makes sense, and walk away.
It works. It has a question mark at the end.
For the record, this isn't the first bad question. But we'll roll with it like normal. Shit happens.
So, like a guy that
happening.
identifies as a female.
Yes. And what's your opinion on this? Not that it... I say to offer it from whatever perspective you have. Mind you, it may not be anything in this field.
To be honest, there are two different things that I have on this. Like, because I do know a few transgender males that are actually my friends. They're males, but they're going through the hormones and everything of becoming a female. And they are actually going to, have the surgery and everything. So I could see this happening with the way that the estrogen creates like the really feminine qualities, and then the lesbian just kind of goes, yeah, you're going to get the operation, so they're with them. But there's some of them that I think that they're honestly a person that's trying to manipulate the modern day into doing that, and I think that that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And we could go into all of the different rays of sunshine that have come out of this particular topic of conversation over who to sleep with or who not to sleep with, and what's shaming and what's not shaming. And thanks, Malevolent.
Riley Dennis.
Along with videos that have been done by the BBC and various news agencies on the West Coast, and LGBT movements saying that if a person is a woman, you should still have relationships with them regardless of the fact that their genitals don't match what your preference is, which is against the you sleep with who you want to, don't be ashamed to sleep with who you want to kind of thing. And then it goes like the same topics coming from the same people argue both sides, and you're sitting there like, don't you realize you contradict yourself? I'll sleep with who I want to. I prefer the pussy. It's nice and wet and moist and juicy, and I fit right inside, no problem. I don't even have to grab lube and clean up as much when I'm done. I mean, I still have to clean up, but you know, and I listen to these conversations, and I try to be open, and I try to be understanding. And yes, I know and am friends with people who are homosexuals. I've been exposed to transsexuals, transgenders, transvestites. It's a big world, and I've been out there for a while. I've seen quite a bit. But certain arguments always lead me back to that's kind of... Alright, so let's put it this way. The question is as confusing as the topic is. How do you word a question about a man who's a woman being with a woman who only wants to be with women but is with somebody who has the genitals of a man?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complicated. That's the reason why I was like kind of piecing together. I was like, okay, I see where this is going. Like,
also, there's a slim possibility I was drinking screwdrivers when I wrote this question.
I was also
that in there too. The timer's almost up, but we'll go for a minute if we need to. It's
like with Riley Dennis. I think that honestly,
let's bring Riley into this gently.
That one in particular, that one in particular individual, I believe is if she's going on, and I believe that her pronouns are she, correct?
She.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
And I've been polite enough to use she for a while now.
Yeah. If she's going through an operation, then I would actually say yes. That is you are a transgender. You are a true transgender, but there's some of these people that are, it seems like they're mentally confused as to what they are, and they don't understand that, you know, it's kind of like it's a disorder, really.
Here we go. Welcome, Lady Wolfheart. Some lesbians go for the personality of a woman, if that makes sense. She did get facial feminization surgery from Lacey Ann. Okay, so I know I'm not reading everything, everybody. You know, when there's a guest, I try to do a little bit of both. I try to watch the Riley videos, and I, with an open mind, can say that from when I started and I did commentaries on Riley's videos to now, Riley is even more feminine than she was, which is, in Riley's eyes, mean to say, because she's been feminine all along and nothing's changed and da-da-da-da-da. But no, it's...
Riley, if you're
Riley,
listening
you were
in...
a guy. You know you were a guy, and you transitioning into a girl, and you know you're still in the process. It will always be a process, like an alcoholic quitting drinking. It's something you're going to have to do and work on every day of your life.
Riley, if you're listening, what I'm wanting to say about it is, if you are transitioning, that's amazing. That's good. If that's what you're wanting to do, you go ahead and do it. But at the same time, like, you're going to have to keep going on it and everything, but there are some of your viewpoints, they won't make sense to the modern day.
Yep, Lacey, and I've said it with Riley on her, she's nice, but her politics, yuck. That's another thing.
Yeah.
I can deal with some of what she says. Some of it contradicts other things she said in the past. And then when she tries to correct that, she digs a hole deeper. I do watch almost everything she puts out, including I've quietly sat through live streams and just listened to the conversation and watched how people treat her in chat. I'm one of those that, okay, I just want to be exposed to it. I don't want to take part in it. I just want to be exposed to it so I can kind of try to understand. The politics. You can't sit there and go buy things and then have a Patreon page and go, but capitalism sucks. Right in a video you did with somebody, Marina Shut Up, I think, just a couple weeks ago, but capitalism is garbage. Wait, you have Patreon links below. People give you money because of capitalism. They have money to give you. So that bothers me a little. As well as the same thing that bothers a lot of other people. It's you can't expect somebody to treat you a certain way when they don't know you or know nothing about you. Once somebody knows you and you get past the stranger element of it, I'm not walking up to everybody going, hey, how are you doing? How do you identify? And what are your pronouns? No, that's not how the world works. Hi, how are you doing? I have a job for you to do. I need you to do it. If an employee comes up, I'm not concerned with whether they're a guy or a girl. I'm concerned with whether or not they can complete the task that I'm asking them to do. My first question is, do you know how to da-da-da? If I can't find anybody that knows how to do it, I go, would you like to learn how to blah, 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 blah. And then I go from there. I don't care who does the work. I don't care who assigns the work. It doesn't bother me. It bothers me whether or not they can do it. So it's not to me first who they are or how they identify. It's to me first, what are they doing there? What is the intention? If they're there to work. You don't bring everything else into this. And that's something that I notice in a lot of the videos that Riley tries to make it so that, and so do other people on that side, try to make it so that the most important part of the conversation and everything that happens is around who they are and how they identify and how they feel with how you're treating them. And most of the time, that's not how conversations go unless you're hanging out with friends.
Yeah. Like, you have to understand that although your group is very vocal, it's still a minority according to populace. So,
yep. Here we are back at the board. Let's get maybe two more. Yeah, I was just about to correct you, Malevolent. we're right on time, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Somehow it evens out. Sometimes we either get ahead or behind. By the end of the show, it all works. Mostly, I guess.
Let's put on our tinfoil hats and go to controversy.
Controversy. I haven't been able to say that in a while. Controversy. The Constitution of the United States encompasses all persons who make it to U.S. soil. Or does it?
Ooh,
yeah, I just
that's
definitely
now let's see here. I'm actually kind of a history buff, so are we talking about the 1700s or are we talking about now?
We're talking about now, but the Constitution was written in the 1700s. Then there's also those who look at the oh, why can't I think of it? I even had to help my son with his homework. The Confederate, not the Confederate. The Confederation
back
of
then
the United
they were
States with the original. Damn it! Why can't I remember the name of the document?
Bill of Rights.
No, before the Bill of Rights, before we had the Constitution, after the Emancipation Proclamation, the first government that we decided was. I forget. I was just doing
A republic.
right, but we wrote our government out on the original form was called. Why can't I think of it? It was written before our Constitution. It was the original writing that our government was supposed to be formed on. We realized it wasn't going to work, so we wrote the Constitution. The Constitution was lacking, and so the Bill of Rights was written.
I know which one you're talking about, but
where's my son's
yeah,
homework?
it's the damn it.
Yeah. Well,
they realized that it was flawed. It was extremely flawed. They had to rewrite.
But
yeah,
in all of the governmental writings that we have, it's said that if you make it to U.S. soil and you're on U.S. soil, then the laws and protections of the Constitution apply to you, whether or not you're a legalized American citizen, which is why we give rights to people who make it across, insofar as we can't go after them for being illegal citizens, because that would inherently take away from rights of legal citizens while looking for illegal citizens.
Yep. That is true, and that's what we're dealing with right now through highway traffic and everything. Some of the cops just generally, I'm going to just search your car just because I can. You have long hair, so I think that you got, drugs in the car, so I'm just going to make, manhandle you around.
It's what, habeas corpus laws that give them the right to search? Is it habeas corpus for search and seizure? You have to be doing something wrong, or they have to detect you're doing something wrong. Certain states have
it's just probable cause.
Probable cause.
Yeah.
Also, some states have taken the probable cause rules away, and there's been fights over that. Where a cop can pull you over just for looking suspicious or driving an old car or driving an expensive car. They pull people over for it all the time, I see.
It's highly abused, but I honestly say, if you ever want to go into the U.S., I personally, go ahead and do it, but just, work, pay your taxes.
Articles of Confederation.
If you're going to be in the U.S., be in the U.S. If you're going to be in the U.S., be a U.S. citizen, go by the U.S., Yeah. I mean, if there's a reason why you're going to be leaving your country, right? If you're leaving your country, then you obviously want to go by the other country's rules. So just pay your taxes and shit. Do what you need to do.
So it does encompass anybody that's on soil. However, there are provisions later written in that can be interpreted or misinterpreted that aren't supposed to encompass. They're supposed to encompass citizens, legal residents who have been here and have paid taxes for those laws to cover them. And the Lady Wolfheart in the chat, thank you so much. The Articles of Confederation is absolutely what I'm thinking of.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, that's that's my girl right there. Yeah, she's in the chat. That's pretty cool.
When you make it onto U.S. soil without being stopped, once you've made it across that line, you are then protected by the provisions that the government offers. You are not a citizen, so you're not protected by certain provisions, but you are protected by the provisions that the states offer to protect its citizens. So people who come across the border illegally are not legal citizens, don't have to worry about calling the cops. No matter where they live, no matter if they live in a sanctuary state or a non-sanctuary state, you don't have to worry about calling the cops, because when they come to service, their first duty is not to capture or detain you just because you can't prove that you live there. They go by the reasonable assumption that you are a legal citizen, unless something comes up or gets flagged If you did something wrong and they run your identification and find out that it's illegitimate or you don't belong here, then they're supposed to call the authorities and move it on. So if you move to America and you never get stopped, you never do anything wrong, you never get caught for coming here illegally, you're fine. And
yeah,
that's kind of okay, because then you're not doing anything wrong, but at the same time you're also not paying your legal taxes, which I am, so now I'm jealous.
Yeah, I mean, all I gotta say is, you know, if you like America, then you should become an American citizen. You know, go through the right processes, even if you're here, because generally, if you're trying to do that, then they're not going to deport you.
Right. At least if you're filling out the paperwork or paying the fees for the visas or whatever it is that you need to do to somewhat legally do what you're supposed to. As long as you're not just doing your best to slide under the radar and not be a part of everything.
Yeah, if you're making the effort, usually, I mean, yeah, there are some exceptions to the rule, but if you're making the effort, then, you know, usually America is pretty lenient on citizens, whether they're legal or not.
Right. They're going to go by the basic assumption. I don't think people realize this, but they go by the basic assumption that you're supposed to be here. Police don't care right offhand if you're an immigrant or not, unless you did something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And when it just comes up in the search. Here we are. We got time for maybe one more. We got 13 on the board, is it? I think. Something like that.
All right. Let's go with movies.
Movies. For the last topic of the day, movies. Why are some so critical, not only of the plot line, but of the actor or actress who fills the role, even when the role is played well? I'd hate to say this, but you brought her name up, so I will mention. I did watch a recent video before I wrote this question from Riley Dennis criticizing Supergirl for not being diverse enough, while pointing out every bit of diversity the show has tried to offer, but yet, and accurately, pointing out that most of the show, most of Supergirl, is white women.
Yeah. I mean, everybody will always critique a movie or a show or relatively anything. That they'll always do that. Like, one of the things that I can't really pay Suicide Squad. I can't. Well, for one, it wasn't really all that good in my opinion, and two, I couldn't place Will Smith as Deadshot. Not because he was black, and because usually Deadshot's white in most of the comics. Not because of that, but because it was Will Smith. All I saw was Will Smith playing as Deadshot.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Because I did get that feeling all the way through the movie. I thought he played it well. Don't get me wrong. I thought he played Deadshot well, especially the scene where he climbs up on the car after Lieutenant yells at him.
Oh,
climbs up on the car.
Just taking everything out. Yeah. He takes everything out, and then he just looks at the dude, and like, I loved his role, but I could not see him as Deadshot. I could just see him as being badass Will Smith. You know, right. I'm like, shit.
Which is good for Wild Wild West, but you're taking on some lumpy monsters.
Yeah.
They're not
like
tall.
Deadshot.
You can't smack him in the head or something. It just doesn't feel like a Will Smith role. There's not enough room for his comedy there.
Well, I mean, he's done pretty good in action, I believe. I Am Legend was really awesome.
Yes, but Deadshot wasn't hugely comedic.
His role. It wasn't his role.
Will Smith did a good job with it, making it kind of his role, but it didn't quite fill properly. And then you've got the people that go, well, it wasn't for him, but she did a good job. It was written for a white person, but Will Smith did a really good job, but it was written for a white person, except you don't get it like that. You get it backwards. It was written for a black person. So-and-so did a good job, but it was written for a black person, and there should have been an Asian in there.
I mean, for me, like, if he could have put on the role of, like, let's say, to go ahead and throw something new out there, just if in case the film people are listening, because I've honestly actually had that happen once. But if you're going to have Deadshot, look at the way Arkham did it, like the video game. Deadshot was intimidating. He was one of the most intimidating features in there because he could shoot Batman from any angle. He could make the bullet ricochet and hit him. And Batman was the only person that's ever made him miss. So Will Smith made him more sympathetic, but you're not supposed to. Like, he's already badass on his own. He doesn't really need to be that sympathetic. Like, I mean, if you're wanting sympathy, go to Mr. Freeze. Like, Deadshot wasn't that.
Right.
Like, he was a stone cold killer. He was a mercenary. Yes,
we're going to go over this probably by a minute, but then again, at the beginning of the movie, they were really trying to line up the everybody has a weakness, and if somebody like Deadshot has a weakness, it would be a kid.
Well, I mean, all it was the fact that Batman could sneak up on him or do a trap, you know, in most of the comics. And yeah, that the kid was part of his weakness, but it was never really... it was never really put into most of the things that Deadshot was doing. He was more of that guy that was just holding half the town hostage because he could, pretty much. Or he would be going after Batman because he became obsessed. He was the only one that really went after him.
To close this out, one of the things that really gets me is I personally would have a hard time as an actor. If I were an actor, I personally would have a hard time playing a gay man with another man acting. I would feel uncomfortable. I don't think I would play that well role, even if I was a damn good actor. However, there are...
What if it was with David Bowie?
I don't care. There are actors and actresses out there that play, and they play the role so well you would believe they are not straight or whatever they are for that relationship. You would believe them regardless of whether or not that's who they are in their personal life. They're acting, they're playing their part that well. So can you really criticize them for not being personally that? If they're playing the role they're supposed to play so well that it doesn't matter because you could believe it from how good the acting is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I get at is how does somebody sit and criticize somebody that isn't, but is okay with portraying that role in a movie and does a good job?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a little bit critical at Will Smith, but in the end, he really carried the entire movie. Like, it was on his acting that the movie was kind of saved, in my opinion.
Everybody had their good points and their bad points in that movie. Everybody played certain aspects of their part well. However, how well was it written for them to play the right aspects of their part? Welcome, Lebo, to the chat. You know what I mean? It's part about how the role is written. They can only play the role as well as how well it's written for them to play. In some ways, you can only If you're supposed to do something in the script, you got to do that. You got to play it to the best of your ability. If it feels wrong or uncomfortable or doesn't flow right, you're not going to be able to play it to the best of your ability.
Kind of like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like yeah, the one that he was in where he apparently had laser vision, which everybody tends to try and forget. Even X-Men tries to make it forgotten.
There's been so many changes. I barely understand canon anymore, and I'm not even a huge comic person.
Well, that's the sad part, was that Deadpool was like, Ryan Reynolds was wanting Deadpool, and during that movie, there was the writer's strike, so the directors had to write the movies during that time, at the moment. And they threatened Ryan Reynolds, saying that he would never be Deadpool again if he didn't go with this script. And he had to go with the Deadpool script that they had there, and it was just every Deadpool fan was pissed. Yeah. And he even made jokes about it on the newer movie. And a little bit more of thing on Deadpool is he walked off the set with the costume. Like he just left.
I don't care what movie I'm acting for. I'm taking a copy of whatever costume I think is the coolest from the movie that I wore. I don't fucking care. Take it out of my paycheck.
It was like they were like, okay, you're gonna have to return that. He goes, yeah, I will. And right after casting, he just walked off.
I would too. I would. I'm sorry. Any of them, especially superhero costumes. Come on. I don't care if you got me playing a stunt devil. I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee, guys. I'll see you in a little while.
Oh, Bucket. Snap. A stunt girl died on the set of Deadpool 2? I didn't know that. Wow. I hope that the movie still goes, but ouch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic of discussion.
Also, welcome Master Chief and Data. How are we doing tonight? Or this morning, even though we're getting ready to head on our way outs. I don't have. Do you have a channel? Do you make any content that we can?
Yes, it's Vash Lancet. Let's see here. I'll just go ahead.
Do you have a wrench in chat?
Luna, are you still there? If you're still there, go ahead and post my channel, please. She might be still there, but in case she isn't, I'm gonna go ahead and just post a link real quick.
And anybody who's in the chat, if you would like a chance to be on the show, I haven't updated my schedule times yet, but I'm doing it Monday mornings at 9 a.m. today, Wednesdays and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Saturdays, Data Wasteland and I have the Numbed Wasteland also at 7 p.m. So, feel free to get hold of me in any way, shape, form, or fashion by tweet, Discord, type any of that in the chat, and the bot will share the link with you, only when you ask.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and send a... Alright, this video is kind of choppy, but it's one of my newer ones.
If nothing else, I will make sure in post I put a link to your channel for people to go take a look at, and I will do my best.
I just posted it in promotions. So anyone that's on the Discord, you guys can check that out.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. With that, thank you so much for coming. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit all the fun buttons and click anything you want on the way out. Thank you, everybody, so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the show. Come back Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. for more. Have a good one.